leadership, as well as Alejandro Bodipo-Memba and Doug Dixon, and also John HOUSEAL, a former board member as well. They have really set the foundation and continue to do a lot of great work to make our foundation better serve the community overall. I want to just also say that I hope this program provided you with a deeper understanding of how we are truly connected and how to use your knowledge, your experience, your passion, your talent to make our community better for all who call it home. I do want to thank you, specifically this cohort, for your patience, your perseverance, and commitment during these stressful, uncertain times. I'm very happy that you were able to continue the program in such a fashion, and that means a lot to the foundation. I also, to think about it, this year more than ever showed the importance of programs like this. In a matter of days in the month of March, our community foundation, along with our nonprofit organizations, our village officials, nonprofit agencies, businesses, and so on, quickly mobilized resources to respond to the local effects of a global pandemic. That was made possible through relationships. That was made possible through connectivity that we have with people in our community. That was possible because of connections such as ours that we have with Leadership Lab and so on. I am a participant of Leadership Greater Chicago. Durando is as well. And I can tell you that these type of programs do amazing things in terms of building connectivity and rapport. And you never know when you can pick up the phone call in a time of crisis, and your fellow cohort during that time can be of tremendous help to you in resolving some of the issues that are happening on the ground today. So again, I want to commend all of you for participating in this program, and congratulations. And a couple more shout outs that I want to do. And those shout outs go to John HOUSEAL and Carrie Summey. Over the past 4 years, they've done a tremendous job in recreating this program, establishing it, setting a tremendous foundation for its success. And I also want to acknowledge Kathy Yen and Jenny Yang, who will be carrying on that torch moving forward. So very proud of all the work that you have done, Carrie and John. This program is a success because of you, and we look forward to an exciting program under the leadership of you, Kathy, and you, Jenny. And again, many congratulations to each and every one of you, to past participants as well. This is what community is all about. This is what the foundation is all about. And I appreciate that you're a part of the foundation family. So welcome and congratulations again. So welcome and congratulations.
Thank you, Tony.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you, Tony.
Thanks, Tony.
I noticed while we were doing this, so I'm just gonna call this out. I'm on a personal laptop to show off the slideshow. Are you guys seeing when my phone rings?
Yes, I saw the messages from your daughter. No, I'm just kidding.
Right? Okay.
No,
So
nothing.
All
You're
my
okay.
private phone calls and messages are coming through. Glad to know it. Okay.
All good.
All right.
Browsing history, other than that.
Thank you for those kind words, Tony. And I too am really excited about Kathy Yen and Jenny Yang taking over the program next year. They're going to do a phenomenal job. I want to look back and thank the awesome coaches that we have had each year on Leadership Lab. So Alejandro, Meg, and Mary, you know how much you mean to me personally. And we're so incredibly grateful for your talent on the Leadership Lab program. I picked these pictures because it's showing you guys at your best and kind of some favorite moments from the past year. Meg, this was when we were at Anna Garcia's Doyle's house, and we were journaling here. Meg did a really good job of kind of opening up the floor to allow folks to share some feelings about a pretty tough community panel we had the month before. And so it was a moment of reflection. We had given some questions that people had journaled. And at this moment in time, they were being quite vulnerable in sharing their feelings from their journals. So Meg did an outstanding job of that. Strengths Finder is Alejandro's bread and butter. And I think this is one of the most valuable ads that we have done to the program I would be very interested to hear what the lab cohort says at the end of this. We'll have some time to get your feedback, but this particular day I think was so incredibly valuable for understanding, you know, the best leadership qualities and strengths that we have within us that we can pull forward. And then Mary here consistently delivered a important session on servant leadership, which we even talked about in this servant leadership. There's usually one or two people a year who actually dislike that phrase and thinking about it in terms of servitude. And Mary always does a really good job kind of defining and explaining and digging into that. So again, thank you so much, coaches. We're just incredibly lucky and grateful to have you as part of the Team for Leadership Lab. Actually, if you don't mind, I would love to can you all just take off cohorts? Can you just take off your mute and just do a quick round of applause for those guys? Because they really, this is a community service. And, you know, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good job.
All right, and then the man of the hour here, John HOUSEAL, is not going to escape this presentation without me giving him a glowing review, of course. So I have said this before in other presentations. I've been kind of one of those lucky people that has never had a bad boss. I've never had to report to somebody that I've disliked. And I don't know how I'm lucky in that sense, but it's true to this day, working for Tony and Elizabeth. And I would say it's been true with all my interactions with the Community Works Advisory Board, with Kathy, Jan, Mary Rita, and also working so closely with John. I have learned a ton. I think the quality that I see in all these people that I work with that I admire is that they allow for a freedom of thought and a freedom of expression, so that I can, you know, just kind of spread my wings, make mistakes, and have the opportunity to grow in my own right. To me, none of these people are bosses. They're not bosses. They're actually guiders, you know, guidance, mentors. And I think that's the apt title for John for this course. One of the first meetings that we had when the Guidance Community Works group came together to talk about this leadership initiative, this leadership program. This was before it had been rebranded as Leadership Lab. John was in that room with a whole bunch of people and sat very quietly, and everybody was sharing notes, and Elizabeth had done all this work on, you know, the program details. And he kind of stood up and just said, you know, we need some sort of framework here, and just literally whipped it out in about 5 minutes on a whiteboard, and we were done. And this is one of the amazing qualities of John, is you can kind of hand him some details, and he just has a knack for pulling back, looking at a big picture, and being an architect of what that can look like. I've compared us to sort of the architect and the construction worker, and I think that's pretty accurate for how we work together. So John, from me to you, a genuine thank you for all these years of service and for working side by side with you. I know that we will continue to work together on future projects, and this is not goodbye, just a new path. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Okay, I think I am turning it over to you, John. Yep. Okay.
No, back, yeah, to me. So you're gonna go ahead and run the slides, though, Carrie? Okay, there you go. So no, don't we? Oh yeah. So first of all, I just want to state before we get going into this, I know after year one, we had one of our cohort members from year one, Dawn. She said, you know, I look forward to these Fridays once a month because it was a chance for me to unplug, not do work, and to sort of nourish my soul, to talk about things that really mattered to me with people that I could have honest conversations with. And I really think Dawn's comments from year one have always resonated. It's a chance to sort of unplug. And I think during the last 6 or 7 months during COVID, I think, or at least I have, even though we've had to meet several times virtually via Zoom, I found it a very, I don't know, personally satisfying or rewarding way to sort of know that I wasn't alone, to know that there were a lot of other people out there trying to navigate what was going on in the world. And it gave me a little bit of solace to know that this group existed and I was able to connect with them when I needed to get me through it. So for everybody in the cohort, to Carrie, to Tony, to all of our coaches. Selfishly, thanks for helping me get to the last 7 months, because not just talking, but honestly, that level of connection really helped more than you may never ever know. So to get a little sappy here, thanks so much for that. This is one of my favorite quotes. Lab 2 cohort, Deb Wolkstein. We were at a sort of a open house mixer, if you will, and she was thinking about joining Lab, but hadn't yet. And we were walking around the bar, we were, eating and drinking, getting to know potential members. And I said, well, why are you interested in Leadership Lab? And she said, and she said these 3 things, to better understand the issues facing my community, to develop the skills necessary to be a more impactful leader, and to give back in a way that empowered what I'm most passionate about. And it was so perfectly described to me in that bar with drink in hand by Deb, that I had told her on the spot, and I do this a lot. I said, that's a great way to phrase that, and I'm going to use that going forward. And I've used this in the last 2 years to explain very succinctly what Leadership Lab is. So this is thanks to Deb. She has seen me give her presentation a few times, but to me, Deb perfectly captures what Leadership Lab is all about. So again, thanking Deb for use of this language. So go to the next one. Carrie, did we have the, well, first, I guess before I go any further, I want to thank Mary Rita Moore. I want to thank Matthew, and I want to thank Jan Arnold. Those 3 are on the Community Works Advisory Board Leadership Lab guidance team. And as Carrie intimated before, there's a lot of work behind the scenes to making this work. And this group meets as a guidance team to vet issues, discuss potentials, to talk about different options moving forward. And they are the sounding board for the Community Works Advisory Board, which is what Leadership Lab functions underneath the umbrella of. So to Mary Rita, to Kathy, and to Jan, thank you so much for your leadership on the guidance team. We really appreciate it. I also want to thank real quickly Elizabeth, who's on the phone, for being one of those voices behind and powers behind the scenes that really helps make everything work so that it is relatively seamless by the time the cohorts are engaged in whatever it is we're doing, whatever the program or activity is. Elizabeth has been and remains to be a real force behind the scenes of making the program work. And then I would be grossly negligent if I didn't thank the person who really makes all of this work, and that is Carrie Summey. I always say, from the first time I started on the foundation, Carrie years ago, I would always say every organization needs a Carrie Summey. And I couldn't say it any better. Every single organization, I don't care if it's the federal government or your local neighborhood watch group and everything in between. If you have a Carrie Summey on your organization will be more fun, more productive, more effective, better, more responsive, and well done. So everybody out there knows this already, but Carrie is what makes all of this work from Leadership Lab. So from my heart to yours, Carrie, you're one of the most impressive people I've ever met in my life, and would go out of my way to work with you on this or any other projects going forward. Carrie will sometimes joke about us being Batman and Robin. I'm pretty sure I'm the Robin in that equation, and if she's the Batman, I am 100% comfortable with that. So I know I'm in good shape because she's the real superhero. So Carrie, thanks so much for everything that you do. Yeah, that is, she's the best, and you guys all know that firsthand. A real quick look back at the numbers. We had 15 fellows this year in this class. Over the last 3 cohorts, we have had 65 so far. So we've had a year alumni circle just in the last few years. With you graduating now today, is 65 under the current Leadership Lab structure, and I don't know how many under the CLP structure before that, but you're entering into a really amazing circle of alumni. But 15 in this class, We had over 50 community panelists and speakers. That's one of the real strengths of Leadership Lab, is to make sure you know what is going on in our communities, what the issues are, and quite frankly, who's doing what, who's working behind the scenes to move the needle on a lot of these issues. And I think that's crucial. We covered 9 different community topics. We had 10 different locations around the community, 4 Zoom meetings, which is new. Hopefully in the years to come, you don't see that stat up there anymore. I think we did well pivoting as we had to. And as fascinating and as fun as Zoom in, if I never hear the expression, hey, you're on mute again in my life, I'm fine with that. But we did okay. We were catered by or had the benefit of 10 local restaurants. I warned you at the beginning, we feed you well, and food's a big part of this. And we had 10 different local restaurants. Besides having Leadership Lab in the middle of a global pandemic, we also had 4 people move, their homes moved, and we had Baby Jackson joining Durandal and Elizabeth. So kudos to Baby Jackson, congratulations to Durandal and Elizabeth on their new baby boy. So a lot going on by the numbers this last year. Just real quick, a few things that you see up here. If you see yourself in these photographs, and you might not think you look great, don't worry about it. I've seen way too many photos of me already in this slide deck, and I don't like looking at me. So, but this has been a great one. And so you can see even in this photo collage right here, this is sort of a really unique experience that we had around the community. We had the orientation at the Oak Park Museum. You see that in the upper left-hand corner slide, if you remember that. Really an amazing place to visit. And for those of you on the phone now or on the call with a loved one or a partner or a family member, if they've not been here and you have now, take the time to go visit the museum. I don't know to the extent it's open right now or not, but really an amazing place and very much worth seeing. You also then see down below that the Urban Pioneer Group. This is a new stop for us this year. That's on Madison Street in Forest Park, a really fascinating space. One of the really neat things about that space was we did, and besides being a new space, we did an exercise with some of Greg's people from the high school. And that was with the leadership folks who were juniors at the high school, the students. And that was a fantastic day and a really fantastic space. You can then see in the middle there how hard we worked at the Knockout Farm. And this was over in Maywood on Madison Street, where they actually made us earn our keep. Oh, I heard somebody else talking there. Where we actually sort of had to earn our keep, pick some vegetables. I don't know about you, but I had a wicked mask sunburn that day. I went home. My wife is an ICU nurse, and she was thrilled to see that I had a white square here and everything else was sunburned because she knew I wore my mask all day. So she was very happy. And then on the far right, one of our favorite stops, and that is Anna Garcia Doyle's house in Oak Park, where she walked us through all the different incredible things she's doing to really be responsible in terms of environmental sustainability and having a LEED certified house. It was really remarkable. She is one of the biggest supporters of and champions of Leadership Lab, and just an amazing, I would even say a community asset as a person to have in Oak Park River Forest. She's just a wonderful person. But that was a great exhibit, or a great experience. Again, this, you can talk about here, the far right photograph. That is before you all really knew each other. That was when we were at the foundation at orientation. So you were sitting at a table with people you didn't know, beginning to explain to people and introduce yourself as to sort of what made you tick and what you were about and who you were. So that was just getting to know each other. You can see there at the middle, there we have a few of us presenting. This is in the upstairs of the garage at Anna Garcia Doyle's house, where we were presenting to the group, some of the first presentations we did to the group by ourselves. And then the far left, those two photos, again, it's back at that Urban Pioneer Group, where we did the exercises with the students, which I thought was just fantastic. And this is a leadership launch team from the high school. And you can see Greg there looking surprised that he's in the photograph. Oh, I just lost the presentation.
I'm not sure why. I'm going to bring it back. Sorry.
That's okay. I just saw Meg there for a second.
I lost a connection.
It's okay.
Stalker.
That happened. Yeah, shocker. Technology, right?
Shocker, technology.
But anyway, so in the urban pioneer group setting over on Madison Street, one of the neat things about that, and we have a few firsts in terms of trying new things. I remember the difference between year 1 and year 2. We didn't have coaches. Alejandro, Meg, and Mary, they didn't exist for cohort 1. And we recognized the deficiency of not having coaches and the miss that was in year 1. So between year 1 and year 2, we brought on board Meg, Mary, and Alejandro as coaches. And the class was so much better with their involvement. And then based off of their feedback and feedback from Lab 2, recalibrated their involvement a little bit for Lab 3. So that was a change. One of the other things we did that you were the guinea pigs for this last year was the involvement of working with the high school students and the leadership launch team. And Greg can maybe talk to this as well, but one of the things, I thought that was an incredibly fulfilling exercise that day at the Urban Pioneer Group. And we broke up and we worked with the high school juniors. And one of the things we did is they had to sort of take an object and invent a game. People then rotated around to the next group. And then without talking, you had to explain the game that you just invented to someone who wasn't in your group, but you couldn't talk. The other thing that we did working with the students is we developed scenarios of different social situations or circumstances and how to navigate those. And it was sort of real improv, and it was really fantastic, but it was great working with the high school students, sort of your 16-year-old counterparts, if you will, to being community leaders. I thought it was incredibly fulfilling. We didn't know how it would go. We're like, boy, improv and games, we're not sure how it would resonate, and it was fantastic. So Carrie and I were really pleased, and based on the feedback from you, it went very well. And so another thing we liked. And then real quickly, this is another snapshot of some activities at the Pleasant House, at the Cheney Mansion, at the Knockout Farms in Maywood. And then again, you can see there's Doug with the Oak Park Museum as well. So all great different venues that we had this year, really commuting with and meeting leaders. And just so in case you've forgotten, in the upper right-hand corner, that smiling, eager face is Kathy Yen. And for taking over in Lab 4, Kathy will be the new and improved me, and she will be the mentor for Leadership Lab going forward. But that's Kathy up there in the green sweater smiling. And there's Carrie again.
I keep getting kicked out of my screen share. I'm not sure why. I'm gonna try and flip it around and do it from this computer. So I'm sorry to do this to y'all. If you can just bear with me a minute. Now would be a good time to have your cocktail.
Or I was going to say John could entertain us with some jokes. If you have any PG-13 jokes, while the programs come back.
I only have 2, and they require that I act something out, which is I have to walk to do it. So.
We have time, and I'm sure folks would like to see that.
Angle the camera.
All right, so again, real quickly, I just wanted to go over in the last couple of slides, just a few things. Again.
Can you see this now? I'm sorry, you guys, to keep interrupting.
Yeah, no, that's good. That's perfect.
Is that okay?
Yeah, that's fine.
If I go to a full screen, I'm going to lose y'all, so I'm going to just keep it kind of here.
Just do it this way, yeah. So again, okay. Over the last few slides, what I wanted to show is, Frank Lippo at the museum, Anika Coates, who was the farmer that we met at the Oak Park or at the Knockout Farm in Maywood, who talked us through all the things they're doing over there with the Warriors and the program that they're doing. Some pretty good things are likely to follow up from that. If you remember there, we were talking about when we were on the ground, sort of their need for potentially starting a capital campaign to get things going. There's been some follow-up discussions with that already with some other groups. So that group that we were there with may have turned into some real good for that farm. So some good has already come out of that. But again, I just wanted to reconnect you again with some of the folks that you see here in these pictures, whether it's Dan Haley or Professor Alyssa Amorosa. which you see down there in the middle photo, sort of in the bottom on the right-hand side. Kathy Yen, but everybody who has really, Dan Haley from the local paper that you see there in the middle, but real leaders in our community, all from different perspectives, all from different walks of life, all providing leadership in different ways that can really serve as models for the lab that we got to work with and interact with over the last year. I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to, because you're probably sick of hearing me talk enough, I want to turn it over to and introduce Doug Dixon. Doug is a board member of the Oak Park River Forest Community Foundation. The privilege of knowing Doug for years through the foundation and the work that we've done and I've done has intersected his involvement as well. He is a Leadership Lab alum from the 24-2015 CLP program. And I'm now going to turn it over to Doug to let him talk a little bit to you, someone who is a board member and is a past lab alum or current lab alum. So Doug?
Well, thank you, John. Thank you. And greetings, Leadership Lab Cohort. As John has said, I am Doug Dixon and an alumni, proud alumni of the predecessor to the Leadership Lab. It was a little nascent program called the Community Leadership Program that has been significantly strengthened through repositioning as Leadership Lab, and is going to do even greater things under Jenny and Kathy's leadership. But I'm pleased, honored really, to be invited to speak to this group. I continue to wonder just what it is that Carrie thinks I'm supposed to say. And I actually asked her that question. And she said, well, Doug, here's your talking points. It was only 3 pages long. And the talking point was primarily to, I hate to say it, guys, to sell you on the benefits of staying connected to this network and engaging with the advisory council. And I was hyped. I was geeked. I had a great speech. I rehearsed it. I got down to 14 minutes. And then I made a tragic mistake of reading the final assignments that most of you submitted. And I was blown away. I was like, are you kidding me? These guys are so much more evolved than I was at this stage of thinking, that for me to come in with some pabulum about joining the network would just be eyewash. So scrapped it and decided to go down a different path. And the path that I'm going to go down is to share a few stories, brief stories, I hope, about social capital creation, and why I think that's important, and how this effort and you guys help contribute to the creation and multiplication of social capital in our community. So please bear with me. It has not been rehearsed, and I usually don't like public speaking if all the words haven't come out of my mouth prior. This story starts in, I think John mentioned, 2014. My wife, Colette, my daughter, Kelsey, and I lived in River Forest. We'd been there, 18 years at the time. Pretty much had nominal connections to the community, and was invited to participate in something called the Community Leadership Program. That was a joint venture between Dominican University and the Oak Park River Forest Community Foundation. Being a very selfish capitalist business person at the time, I looked at this as a great opportunity to expand my book of business and meet lots of people who could get me out of O'Hare Airport and working in River Forest to do my work. And boy, was I disappointed in that outcome, but that outcome was not to be realized, but there were loads of other benefits I didn't even know I was going to get from associating with this group. And I'll share some of it with you. CLP was different than Leadership Lab, but there's something key about it. In those days, we had like 30 people in the cohort, and everybody kind of matched up based on what they perceived the issue that they wanted to work on. And then you'd build a project about it. And I was fortunate enough to stumble into 2 colleagues that thought that Oak Park and River Forest were beautiful communities, but surrounded by communities that didn't have as much going for them. And we couldn't make any sense out of it. We said, if you go south of the Eisenhower or west of the Des Plaines River or east of Boston Avenue, it's like a different world. What's up with that? And what can we do about it? Boy, so we actually decided, because we're like that, we could actually do something about it. So what we dreamed up was a forum to connect social service agency heads in surrounding communities with the executives that run community impact organizations in Oak Park River Forest, which I judge to be very well run, and connect them to identify places we could work together, hopefully develop great partnerships, blah, 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 blah. Well, you know, needless to say, out of 100 people that showed up, it was wonderful. I had a metric, because I'm kind of metric driven, that I wanted to see at least 10 collaborative projects that resulted in, you know, untold employment opportunities or something silly. And it didn't happen. Didn't work. Wildly unsuccessful. It's okay. Ran it again the next year at the behest of State Senator Camille Lilly. She thought that was kind of cool. And we ran it again. Ran it on the west side as opposed to a Dominican. Had a similar 100 people, speed dating, presentations. Don Herman, State Senator, came in and gave a presentation. And once again, you know, I'm like, oh man, you know, no great projects. I can't, you know, talk about how great this thing was. But, you know, interestingly, what I didn't appreciate at the time was the benefit of what we wanted to do. If I remembered what we set out to do, that was connect people. And that's what we did. Bizarre, and I'm not going to take credit for this. A person who had never engaged in conversations with community leaders east of the Des Plaines River was a woman by the name of Edwina, who I happened to talk to on the west side. And what I found out was that Edwina is the mayor of Maywood, had never talked to people on the river, discovered loads of common interest, common issues, and took it upon herself to say, you know, we need to continue working together. I didn't think much of it, but lo and behold, you know, the March of Time, Edwina and Kathy Ducci get together, and all of a sudden, well, not all of a sudden, but working together to collaborate to do cross-border initiatives across a broader region. Who can say that that's not a good thing? I think it's an incredible thing. That was one of the learnings of putting it out there, demonstrating some leadership. It didn't necessarily do what I set out for it to do, but it accomplished wonderful things. And I think the fruit of that effort will continue to multiply. The key lesson to me was put it out there, show up, take the passion, take the energy, develop some leadership, take some risks, and good things happen. And I'm pleased to say that they were. The challenge that we felt in setting up that workshop was, how do we expand the view of people to look at this as a West Side region, the greater West Side. It's not Oak Park, it's not Oak Park River Forest, it's not Tri-Village, but this is a huge community that neither the river nor the expressway nor Austin can dam, progress, or regress. And it's up to us to make those differences. So out of that, the purpose of this speech was I developed a personal social mission, and my personal social mission was to increase the flow of social capital throughout the greater West Side. My coaches will say that's not a mission, Doug. That's a means. The mission is to improve the economic conditions on the ground through improving social capital flow throughout the greater West Side. Thank you, coaches, especially Alejandro, who never lets me get away with loose language. It evolved. I was bit by the bug of community leadership, finding out what my passions were and what talent I could bring and how I could advance this agenda. And I've been somewhat relentless in that attempt. Carrie invited me to participate in the advisory council for Leadership Lab, and I've met some incredible people on the advisory lab. The advisory council, excuse me. I will warn you, if you choose to participate in the advisory council, beware, they won't let you go until you find a replacement. So I'm pleased to report that after a year of persuasion, I was able to convince Heidi to step in as the advisory council, and ultimately, unfortunately, you know, she's proven that what she replaced didn't even need replacement because she's a real role player, and that's a wonderful thing. Thank you so very much. Additionally, got involved in the Future Philanthropist program and an offshoot of it called the 3 Pillars Initiative, which is a youth youth leadership program wrapped around philanthropy. And it's been a fun ride for the past 3 years because I love working with youth. They are the future, duh. When you're 64, you look at the future a lot. Getting into it, it's a wonderful thing. I love working with youth. And one of the things I'm recognizing is we do a lot of things in this community, and everything that we do can be improved upon. So the Leadership Lab was great. Community Leadership Program was great 15 years ago, needed to be updated. Leadership Lab was probably a great update. It is a great update for future philanthropists. Great program 10 years ago, but this is a different environment that we're working in. I think all of you guys reported on the impact of COVID in this community. Sensitive to structural issues around racism and discrimination, and I don't know that that program, frankly, is dealing with that. And as a foundation program, that's something we want to look at, and that's something that I'm like, okay, let's do that. Let's see how we can make all the programs that the foundation touch actually support social justice initiatives. And I am pleased to do that. Haven't solved it yet, but we're going to continue working on it. I'll share one other brief story in closing, almost. Story I'm not proud of. Told you I like youth. I have an affinity for young Black males for some strange reason, because I think we need help. Even old Black males need help, but I think old Black males do good jobs supporting young Black males. So I engaged with a group of men in Oak Park a couple of years ago to form a mentoring circle, if you will. And we branded it Zengala Uwazi. So it's a group of half a dozen men. We get together once a month, try to recruit young boys to come to talk to us, read, do crafts, and actually have positive role models. And it was fun. Loved it. Met some incredible people once again. But after a whole year of working, we only got maybe 6 kids with repetition. I'm like, something's wrong here. We're putting in way too much work. So we disbanded it. Not that that's a bad thing when you're wasting resources. It's probably a good thing. But I walked away from that learning that, you know, I needed to shrink my ego a bit. Don't quote me on that, Tony. That we set out to build this thing from scratch. And that was fundamentally stupid, right? That there are loads of community impact organizations, social service agencies, and groups of individuals with existing programs to support kids. And would I not have been better served to engage with existing people and partner with them to accelerate the impact? And that's the decision that I've made about that initiative and others, is there's nothing that we want to do to correct inequity in this community that's not already being done, but it all could be done better if we engage. And that's the kernel of wisdom I'd like to share with you guys, is don't invent the wheel, serve, engage, and we can drive this community to make it as even more beautiful than all of us envision it to be. The pièce de résistance of my volunteer career has been working with the foundation as a member of the board. It is great, once again, get to meet incredible people, work with incredible people. And for some crazy reason, Donna, who's the board chair, and Tony, who's chief executive, asked me to participate in the strategic planning process. Little did they know that I talk a lot. You guys just learned that. But I am proud to work with these guys because the foundation has a unique position in the community. I think that we can span geographic boundaries, we can span organizational boundaries, we can connect people to actually improve the quality of life for all residents in the community. And I'm pleased that Tony and Donna and the rest of the board are engaged in a process to try to re-engineer what we do at the foundation to continue to push the ball forward so that the Oak Park River Forest regional community is a beautiful place for all people to live. And I'm pleased to do that through leadership. I'll steal one from Durandal. I think his paper said that leadership is leveraging your personal influence to improve outcomes. And I think that's what we're all trying to do. What little leadership I manifest, it's how do I take that, connect one little sentence to a paragraph that Durandal's got, and the paragraph goes a little bit further. I'm pleased to say that that's what we're all doing. So in conclusion, I know I ran over, Harry, sorry. I rarely like to quote Republicans, but one of our presidents, I think it was 42, George Bush, had this phrase back in the day, before most of you were born, that we were going to have 1,000 points of light, was his social strategy. And I think about it, and I say, you know, there's a lot of work that needs to be done throughout our region. We don't know what initiatives and what projects and programs will be successful, but we do know we need to spread our light. Many of the lights that get lit will extinguish themselves naturally, but other lights will join other lights and illuminate a way forward. So I want to encourage us all, take the risk, fire it up. If it burns out, fire it up again. Go find somebody else's candle to join with to eliminate it. We will all shine brighter with your participation. I'm proud to be associated with Leadership Lab, because looking at the quality of the work, you are all committed to do work to improve the quality of life in this community, and it's blowing me away. So I'll borrow, I think it was Deb's quote that John quoted, that it's our opportunity to give back, that it has empowered us to follow our passions, to create a more sustained community for everybody. So in closing, finally closing, the closing close, I won't even ask for your order. Share your light. If you didn't know it, you've already shared it with me, because I'm borrowing tons of stuff from your projects to stick in the strategic plan. And I'm talking to you, Madeline, because you've got some great documentation about community organizations we can link with as we build partnerships. And last but not least, since my social mission is to accelerate the spread of social capital, I do that by connecting with people. And I would welcome the opportunity to work with any one of you on any one of the projects that you're working on, because I think it's all good. That's my number. Feel free to call. Namaste. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug. You can see why we.
Thank you so much, Doug.
I was going to say, now you know why we have Doug at the table whenever we can get Doug at the table, because his contribution is obvious. And I think he really underscores a couple things I want to touch on real quick before we go on to our next speaker, and that is the collective impact on all of us doing leadership in our way for what we believe in collectively moves the needle so much for the community, no matter what aspect of leadership we're leveraging. And I think Doug really emphasizes the fact that we can all work together to do our part. The other thing Doug emphasized was that the sense of community, or community, isn't so myopically defined as just Oak Park or just Oak Park and River Forest, even though this is the foundation initiative. Over the last 3 years, it expands every year. We've included cohort members from Oak Park, River Forest, Forest Park, Maywood, Elmwood Park, Berwyn, Austin neighborhood, and the Galewood neighborhood. So we have grown and grown and grown our reach. I know we are talking about the next team is going to be maybe even expanding beyond that. And I think just to touch on, to tie it back, if you remember when we had the class on local governance, we had 4 area mayors on our panel that you asked questions of, and you heard them all talk about what leadership was as a mayor of a local community. One of those mayors was Mayor Perkins from Maywood. That is the Edwina Doug Dixon was talking about. So when he talked about Edwina from Maywood, who was the mayor, she was on our panel discussion along with Anand, Kathy, Edwina, and the mayor of Forest Park. So really a good panel that tied it all together. Doug, thank you so much for talking about our collective impact as individual leaders and collectively, and about the fact that our community is beyond just the city in which we live. So next, what I want to do is introduce Victoria. Victoria is from Lab 2. I'm always amazed and learn so much from everybody in our lab. And I'm like, man, I wish I could find more ways to work with this person because of how really remarkable they are. Victoria falls very squarely into that camp. We're thrilled to have her here to talk to you today. And again, she is from Lab 2 from last year. So Victoria, thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. I am excited to be here. Yeah, Alejandro, I see you. And I just want to say thank you for allowing me to join you virtually. I'm trying to make sure the camera is right to cover all the roles I've gained from quarantine. So it is what it is. I know a lot of us were talking about how the t-shirts don't fit. You thought it would be too large. That's me. My new wardrobe is yoga pants. But I put makeup on for you guys, so you should be thankful, right? Okay, moving on, because that was a lot of work. So Terry asked me to come and talk to you all about inspiration and what that looks like. And I didn't have the privilege of reading your final projects, so Doug has an advantage of me. But I'm still going to move forward and talk about the lab and how it inspired me and sort of where I'm at now. And I'm going to make sure that I'm within my 15 minutes, so I've set my alarm clock, because I know Carrie is a stickler for time. Yeah, and you all understand that. That's why I'm seeing grins on the camera right now. So now, showtime. So, and we could just be very transparent, I hope, and I can be vulnerable with you guys because my vulnerability lends to my success, right? And I was where you guys are at currently, and I don't know your stories, but for you to be in lab, I'm sure is extraordinary. For me, though, I joined lab at the crossroads of my career and personal endeavors. One can say that I had a midlife crisis a decade or so too soon. So when I reached the midlife age, I'll be surpassed that. Yeah, done that, been there. But anyway, Leadership Lab could not come at a better time. I was recommended by another person who had went through the cohort, and they thought that I would be a good fit. And so Friday night, I'm emailing Carrie, asking her more information about the lab, because the application was due on Monday. And Carrie took time out of her schedule while she's with her family off of work to kind of help me walk through the process. And so I applied on a whim, particularly on faith. And I wasn't really sure if I was going to be accepted, and if I was extended an opportunity to go through this program, how would I possibly go through it and be successful? Well, I didn't think about that because I know how I am, and I'm my worst critic. I would have talked myself out of it if I started thinking about excuses. So I decided just to move forward, and if I got accepted, I would just cross that bridge when I came to it. Well, I got accepted. Yeah. Here we are, right? Okay, now what do I do? Here's the background. The time I had a 5-year-old turning 6 son, I was thrust into single motherhood. My mother had made her transition. She passed away. I had no family here in Chicago. I was completely on my own. And I was trying to figure out what is next for Victoria. How do I build these instrumental blocks for my son by which he could develop and grow and be better than me, right? That's all parents' mission and guide. I want you to be better than me. I want you to inspire to be better than me. I had no idea what the heck I was doing. I just be transparent with all of you guys today. I don't know you guys, but I feel like we're family, right? Because you guys kind of sort of went through what I went through. I know you did it virtually, but the bottom line is you sat through the classes, you sat through the speakers, you had the knowledge share, you did all of that. So we're family now, so get over it. So with that said, I'm like your distant cousin, it's okay. So with that said, I'm like, oh crap, what am I gonna do? I didn't have a plan. And if I stand before you guys now, virtually sit before you guys and tell you that I had a plan and it was sealed and it was flawless execution, it would all be lies. Be lies. I didn't know. But one thing I knew for sure is that I was gonna walk out on faith. I knew I had to do something different. I knew I had to make a change. I knew where I was at, I wasn't happy. And I also knew that I wanted more. I wanted to turn desolate communities into the Garden of Eden. I would ride past the West Side, Austin being the invisible barrier from Austin to Oak Park. And I would see the dramatic difference, as Doug mentioned. And I'm not from here, I'm from New Jersey. But I knew something was wrong. How could this be? These are like alternative realities, and we just turn a blind eye to it? It's not right. And I have a son now. He can't grow up in this world. So I decided to do something different. So when I was asked or invited to be a part of this lab, I was very strategic in how I approached this. I knew that one thing for certain is that I wanted to build relationships, cultivate relationships, and leverage the opportunities. Now, the other speakers that came before me mentioned that it's all about leveraging opportunities. Well, I'm putting it in my language, of course. Building those opportunities, capitalizing those opportunities, building these relationships. Well, I can stand before you and say that this whole entire time that you were in the lab, that's exactly what it is. It's beta testing. But at this point, this is where the real work begins. This is your opportunity to take everything that you learned from the speakers, from your cohort, all the knowledge share, digest it, meditate on it, and execute. That was the focus I had when I came in, because I had too much at risk. I knew that I had to make a change in my life, and I knew I had to make a difference. So again, my priorities were build, cultivate, leverage. Every single speaker that resonated with me, I made a point to go and talk to them, to develop relationships with them. I probably stalked a couple of them because I needed to pick their brain. I needed to understand. I need to know how I can be where you're at and what's next for me. So the first week in introduction, Doug opened us up. Yeah, and Doug says, yes, it was stalking, because I stalked Doug. I totally stalked Doug. It's true. I did it. The first week, he did a welcome introduction. I said, oh my God, this man had to teach Obama. He's charismatic. He's engaging. He's articulate. Oh, I got to learn these skills, right? I knew for sure I made the right decision day one coming into this lab. I'm like, oh, great opener, Doug. All right, how do I be a part of the team? Yes, Doug. So the thing, and then you guys are laughing, stop it. So I stalked him and I wanted to meet with him, and I had a coffee chat. I was successful. One thing you know about me, when I'm razor sharp on my target, I will succeed. So I was successful. I grabbed him. We met at the library and I picked his brain. And I asked him all different type of questions. And I learned an incredibly amount of knowledge from him. After Doug, there were other presenters. There was Anna. I mean, it goes on and on and on. Whatever speaker or panelist that was there, if it resonated with me, I needed to connect with them. In the midst of that connection, I could say life was easy and that was just it. Oh no, because Victoria likes a challenge. I decided to apply for Northwestern University. I'm thinking, oh, it's a pie in the sky. I would never get into Northwestern. Yeah, well, I got into Northwestern graduate school. Oh darn, what have I done, right? In the midst for that, I decided to apply for another job. I'm not gonna get that job. Yeah, I got the job. So who do I call? Alejandro. Help! You're a mentor. That's what you're here for. Mentor me. Help me out. Let's go to breakfast. I might have stalked him just a little bit. And I'm like, hey, I'm not going to let you leave my site or my claws until you tell me how to navigate this murky waters that I am in. I am in the midst of a lot of transition. I have no idea how to handle this. And of course, he was there. He helped me. He helped me to navigate the process. Successfully, I would say. And the great thing about being at Northwestern and the lab simultaneously, it gave me the opportunity to understand theory from Northwestern and the actual reality, which is practice here at the lab, right? And some of the speakers had no idea that they were practicing this theory that people from the Ivy League have studied. And now they're philosophizing to me for in class. They're practicing in real life and they have no idea. that this is leader exchange theory, or that all these other theories that they had no idea. But I was able to connect those two, and that was great. And that opportunity had not been available to me if I had not pursued Leadership Lab. So I'm gonna watch my time because Carrie, again, is a stickler, and she has, I know how Carrie is, so I'm traumatized over Carrie. So I'm gonna make sure that my timing is precise. So I'm gonna check my phone. I got 5 minutes, okay, we're good. So I'm coming around, Michael, you're laughing because you understand how Carrie is, and I think the whole cohort does. So I'm coming around the home base, Carrie. So with that said, I ended up graduating from Northwestern, from the lab, bought a new home, was a realtor, got a new job, created my own foundation, started giving, just a host of things, and raising a son. I was the best stack mom. I'm gonna toot my horn right there, okay. And with all of that said, I don't know, you guys, and this is my transparency moment, I don't know how I did it all. I don't know. I know that I took a leap of faith, and I knew that I wanted something different. And I knew that I needed to surround myself around a tribe or a village, a group of people who had either been where I was going or had some useful advice and mentorship and willing to mentor me or sponsor me. You know, it's amazing that sometimes people around you see the beauty in you more than you see the beauty in yourself. That was my experience. When I called Carrie after I had finished, Carrie's great in response to just having a conversation with her, and she's very insightful. So I called Carrie, and I'm a visionary. I'll cast a vision. I need someone to engineer it, but I'll cast a vision. So I cast my vision out to Carrie, and Carrie was like, oh, well, you got a lot of good ideas. Why don't you talk to John? So I was like, oh yeah, John, why not? Because he's always challenged me throughout the entire cohort. Of course. So I stalked John, well, a little bit. And I use stalking literally. Guys, please don't social me with stalker for now on. Just get it out your head. Let me just change the verbiage. I consistently followed up with John, and he allowed me to have a coffee meeting with him, and we just chatted, and I unpacked in my most vulnerable way. I unpacked, and that means I told him everything I wanted to do, and I had no idea how to get there, and I had tons of experience. I just needed to figure out how to hone that experience, and he was patient with me. He is the epitome of what a mentor should be and what a sponsor should be, and he took his time with me, and I was so grateful. And as a result, I've gotten 2 promotions. I work for HUD now, which is federal government. Thank you, Alejandro. And I know what my end goal is, which is to turn desolate cities and communities into the Garden of Eden, restore communities. And I now know that there's many paths to get to that end goal. And so when life happens, you pivot accordingly. And you stay persistent, and you stay passionate. And I think that's the interaction that I've learned and gained and mastered throughout this entire process. I will say again that the real work begins after this. You are in beta testing now. This whole lab was beta testing. Now at this point, it's time for you to execute and dominate. It's not easy. And I know I'm talking to people who are probably well more experienced than me and great accolades, and that's awesome. But I'm just sharing my story with you to let you know that your time is right now. And you have 2 options. Either you're gonna step out and dominate, or you're gonna fade away in the shadows. I hope you don't fade. Walk in faith. Congratulations to everyone. And if you ever want a coffee chat, you don't have to stalk me. I am there. I'm available, just for the record, only because a lot of my mentors, John, Carrie, etc., extended their hand. So it's only right for me to extend my hand to you all. Congratulations, you guys did it! You did it! Give yourself a minute. Okay, I got you. Yeah. But whatever, yay! You're awesome. Congratulations. Carrie, feel free to share my contact information with anyone who cares to reach out. And I'm really super, super proud of you guys. You guys, I mean, do a pandemic, you made it through. Yeah, round of applause again.
Thank you so much, Victoria.
You're welcome.
Yeah, like I said, it's I get so much more out of lab than I think anybody else does. I am absolutely in awe of the people I've met over the last few years, and Victoria is absolutely no exception. She said she was grateful to me for chatting with her and talking with her and helping any way I could. I was absolutely thrilled that she reached out. And I'm still convinced I got more out of that exchange than she did. So again, it's just another indicator of what I think Leadership Lab is really all about. So Victoria, congratulations on everything. And thank you so much for sort of motivating and being real for everybody on the call today to let them know that they're not alone. It's not easy. It's worth the fight and to hang in there because that's what it's all about. So.
Yes. Okay, well, we're going to get to the actual celebration here. So thank you to Victoria and Doug for being with us and being our keynotes. I am not going to screen share because it's just a list of all our names, but I'm going to read each name of the graduates, and I would ask everyone to take yourselves off mute. I think each and every one of these names deserves a pause and applause. So I'm going to say the name, and we're just going to spend a good 10 solid seconds applauding for each person. As you hear your name, you know, wave about and so we can see you. And I think that's how we're going to start. So are we ready?
I mean, there's my
Okay. I see you're all still on mute, so that means you're not ready to applaud.
Okay, we're off.
All right.
Do you want his kids screaming?
Okay. So our very first person, Aaron Alonso. Aaron, where is your son? You had your son for a second.
Aaron, come here. Come here. He's coming. Hold on one second.
Okay, we gotta say, Daddy's. We gotta tell
Aaron.
He's getting. Come on, come on. Oh, say hi.
Yay! Good job, Aaron. Okay, Erica Bachner. Hey, Erica, I gotta see where my screen is. Oh, there you are.
Hey, Erica.
All right, this person is a self-described class Victorian who likes to get a lot of gold stars. Durando Beverly.
Durando!
Take a bow.
Don't touch my.
All right, Rebecca Boblett. Rebecca's at work. Are you at work, Rebecca? Are you at the YMCA?
Yeah.
You guys know that Rebecca is working hard at the YMCA right now. So, oh my gosh, thank you so much. All you're doing for the community.
No.
Okay, Michael Pinar, where are you? Hi. Oh, look, he's got his picture up. Awesome. Thanks, Mike. All right. Is Abrian on the call? I don't think Abrian's on here. Is Abrian on? Did you guys see Abrian?
I haven't seen it.
All right. AB's not, okay, so Abrian's nickname is AB. AB's not on the call, but yay, AB.
Yay.
I see Tracy, and Tracy's got her family around her. Tracy Gutierrez. Congrats, Tracy. Who's in the background, Tracy?
This is my husband, Dave, and my son, Simon. And our
Hi, Dave and Simon. Okay, Kim Johnson, where's Kim? There she is, and Kim has a bunch of folks on the call, I think, right?
Oh, there's this arm.
Awesome. We're so proud of Kim. I know I have not shared with the group, but Kim has had a sort of an exceptional week. Oops, I don't know where that one's coming from, but Kim's had a bit of an exceptional week. Hang on. I think that was Sierra. I think I got her. I muted you, Sierra, sorry. Kim's had an exceptional week, and so it's really extraordinary that she's here today. She had a loss in her family earlier this week to gun violence. This is the crazy world that we live in. If everyone could just please offer up, if you believe in the power of prayer, Kim does, and she would appreciate your wishes for her family. We love you, Kim. I'm so grateful you're here. Congratulations and good job.
Congratulations.
Okay, Greg Johnson. Greg, I know I saw you earlier.
Great.
I lost you on my screen. There you are.
Yeah, I'm here.
Man, talk about a tough job. Greg, superintendent at the high school, you guys. Do you guess what he's been doing all summer? I mean, good Lord. Thank you, Greg, for all your time and attention to our high schoolers.
Thank you, Carrie.
Terry Miller. Terry.
Terry
and husband Brett are joining. Where's your cocktail, Brett? All right.
Cool.
Cheers. Toast to you guys. Congratulations, Terry. Okay, Maddie Petrilla. Congratulations, Maddie. You guys, Maddie's sporting the hottest haircut I've seen.
I know, it looks awesome, Maddie.
It looks awesome.
Love it.
Yeah. We love it.
How do you know when it's the last person?
Oh, who is that? Hi. Oh, it's Tom's family. Okay, great. I'm glad he's there. Is that Nolan?
Yeah, that's.
All right. Hey, Nolan. I'm going to have you come on the screen in a second. All right. Next is Sandra Remus. Yay, Sandy.
Hey, Sandy.
Thank you.
Great job, Sandy.
Thank you.
I don't see Kali on the call. Do you guys see Kali?
No.
Okay. Kali Stewart. I'll say a few words about Kali. She has the most amazing, fun sense of humor. I think between her and Kim, they just had John and I in stitches at every swear to God. Kali is actually heading up her own nonprofit called Front Porch Arts, which is run out of the her house in Austin. It's pretty amazing, and I know she could use all our support getting that up and off the ground. So look up Front Porch Arts. So congratulations, Kali Stewart. All right, Sierra, I think, did join us because I muted her. I'm going to unmute you, Sierra, if I can do it. Oh, you know what? It's not letting me do it. You have to do it yourself.
You get to unmute to celebrate.
I can't get her to do it. It's not working for me. But all right, Sierra, there we go. Congratulations, Sierra. Sierra is also a YMCA employee who set up the whole new childcare center that was taking care of all the kids during the pandemic of essential workers. So amazing. Kudos to your work, Sierra. Thank you. Okay, last but not least, where's Nolan? Nolan, this is your man. Congratulations, Tom Woods. Sarah, I'm going to mute you again. There we go. All right, congratulations, Tom.
Tom's family.
All right, that's it with our actual graduates. We have a couple of other things to share with you, so I am gonna pull up the slides now. But take a breath, have a drink. Way to go! Congratulations, John. Do you have anything you want to add to that while I pull up my screen?
No, again, it's really impressive. It's just such a broad spectrum of people and different interests and passions. I still think the best takeaway is the fact that we all get a chance to work with each other, to get to know each other, to meet each other. In any other world, this doesn't happen. And the fact that Leadership Lab can make that happen, I think, is the greatest testament. And to Greg, if you're still on there, to everybody who has a kid and they know how tough it's been to deal with a kid or a couple of kids during COVID, Greg has his own plus 4,000 others. So it's Greg, nice job dealing with everything that schools had to deal with again, on behalf of the community. It's your leadership, among others, to try to deal with this at a school level is a benefit to the community and really an overwhelming position to be in. So glad you're able to be there and glad you're there for the community. So, and to everybody else, really heartfelt congratulations. It's a lot to take in over the course of a year. We cover a lot of stuff, and hopefully you all feel enriched, empowered, better educated, and better prepared to make a difference. So congratulations. I think one last couple of things real quick before we sign off here. One is, how do you define a leader? It's different. There is no one specific type. You ask 10 different leaders, you'll get 10 different answers. We went through, Carrie did your projects, your papers at the end, and pulled out a few things that were great. And we're going to put them all on the screen. I'm not going to read all of them, but I am going to read this one from Terry. So follow along, but I'm going to read through it. In reflecting on my time in the Leadership Lab, I will take with me a greater understanding of the issues facing our community, or the issues facing our community. The presenters, panelists, and lab coaches and mentors have enriched our experience and showcased the skills and temperament needed to become trailblazers. Having the time and space to look inward and discover our own true talents and motivations has been invaluable. And the special friendships made with fellow lab members, especially with small teams, will continue to inspire me to push myself to continue to grow, to continue to learn, and to seek out ways I can support my community. Terry, this quote will be stolen and used for future labs.
I knew you would.
Just as I did with Deb's, and I've used that. It was so articulately and concisely worded. This captures the essence of what Leadership Lab is intended to be, and if successful, is indeed functioning as. So well stated, fantastic, and I really just wanted to take the time to read yours specifically and share it with the community, share it with the group. So Carrie's going to put a few other ones up there as well, just to leave up there for you to just take a couple of minutes and read through them. We're just going to put some of these up, and I'll be quiet, and you can just read some of these for a couple of minutes.
I'm going to move on to the next. Move on.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
So again, congratulations to everybody. It was sincerely an honor to have the privilege of working with you over the course of the last year. I appreciate the time you spent with us. I take so much away from what we've done together as a group. I hope you do as well. Heartfelt thanks as well to Carrie for making all of this function and work. It is work that we have all, and I include myself, benefit from. So thank you, congratulations. Now go out there and make a difference.
We're gonna have, before we just close real quickly, I'm just gonna pass it right back to Tony for a final closing comment, and for me, to everyone, congratulations.
Again, just congratulations to everybody, and to John and to Carrie for the tremendous work that you've done over the course of the past 3 years with the leadership cohort. And I also now I kind of want to pass the baton to Kathy and Jenny. I don't see you on the screen. My screen is kind of packed, but there you are, Kathy, and there you are, Jenny. I see you. You have a tremendous foundation to build on, and we look at nothing but great expansion of the program under your leadership. So again, many thanks to John and Carrie, and looking forward to a tremendous future with Kathy and Jenny. And have a good night, everybody. Enjoy yourselves.
Congratulations, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Good job, everybody. Congratulations.
I feel like theme show music should be behind or something.
I know.
All right, everybody.
I know. I need like the pop and circumstance music.
Exactly.
To hang out and have a cocktail, feel free. Victoria's like, no.
I didn't realize I had so
I
many
believe the
amazing singers
children
here.
of the future, teaching well and let them lead the way.
Where's my lighter, Tony? Man.
I don't know. God bless everybody.
Thank you so much. Bye.
All right. I am going to
Take care,
sign us
everybody.
all off, you guys.
Goodbye.
Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.